My elderly parents are housing what feels like a dangerous stranger pretending to be my brother, and when I suggested DNA testing to prove something's wrong, they accused me of having delusional episodes, and they want me to see a therapist instead. Posted by you/accomplished_L7211. I, 30M, want to preface by saying I'm not mentally ill, and this is not the schizo post you were expecting. I have no better way to articulate what I'm thinking right now. My brother, 20M, just came back from his gap year, traveling Asia in hopes that he'd find himself. We were never really close, so his lack of contact during this year didn't strike me with too much alarm, but my parents have informed me of 3 separate incidents in which they needed to contact consulate authorities to ask about him. He's a mummy's boy, so this did seem very out of character. We hosted a dinner for my brother's return to the country, but upon seeing him at the airport, it was like a stranger tried to draw my brother from memory, and pass that as the real thing. He looked completely different. He was severely underweight, he looked 2 to 3 inches shorter, he seemed bedraggled and unkempt. Believe me, this was the opposite of my brother prior to his trip. He has always been a germaphobe, someone who washes his hands twice to make sure he eliminates all the bacteria, but this guy? He smelled horrendous. He didn't even talk to us, or properly acknowledge our existence. He begrudgingly gave our mom a hug, and our dad a handshake. He did not say hello to me. It's been around 2 weeks, and what I've been hearing from my parents is horrifying. Apparently he's been extremely active at night and sleeping during the day. They can only get faint murmurs out of him and his speech is becoming increasingly nonsensical. He doesn't shower, he doesn't seem to eat, he spends all his time locked away in his room, doing something, my parents don't know what, extremely loudly. They've already contacted a doctor, and he's on a waiting list to see a therapist. I suggested getting the police involved, but they were determined not to. My mom is afraid, and I don't know what to do. I've volunteered to stay over and be the peacekeeper, as our parents are getting old and I'm personally worried about that psycho doing something to them. However, my parents have too rejected this. I was never too close with my brother, but this isn't him at all. Does anyone know what could have caused this? Or what we can do? It's like someone kidnapped my brother and replaced him with the dude from Castaway. Edit. I've seen a lot of people suggest theories, including drug use, or underlying mental health issues. I had my mother over today, primarily to talk about my brother's condition. My wife was against mentioning the DNA test I ordered, so they are still unaware of my suspicions. My mom told me about the 3 incidents involving the authorities in Vietnam. The first one was a wellness check, after my parents heard nothing from him for about a week. This might have been overzealousness on my mom's part. The second and third instances were actually a part of the same correspondence but turned out to be much more disturbing than I thought. Local authorities were worried my brother and 2 other female friends had been trafficked in Laos, as they failed to return to Vietnam on time. However, this was resolved after half a month. I have no idea the status of his friends, but I suspect they all returned to Vietnam together. With regards to my brother at present, my parents have since agreed to my suggestions of adding cameras to communal areas as well as installing a doorstop in their own room. They have also given me news that they will go private to seek psychiatric treatment for him, starting next week. We'll keep you all updated. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. A hard drug addiction is the most likely answer. DNA testing would clear this up real quick. If the result is a match, I'd suggest you seek counseling for both of you. In that case, either he's done a lot of hard drugs and needs help, or you have some tendencies toward delusion. If the DNA is not a match, you've got your hard proof and can probably get the help you need. The kind of resources needed to pull off the scheme you're describing would make it a very odd way to spend one's time. Finding someone similar looking enough to fool not only airport authorities but also family has got to be difficult and expensive. If your family is not high profile, I'm talking head of state, Fortune 500 C-suite or otherwise ultra wealthy, it would not make any sense to pull something like this off. Even then, it's such a crazy scheme I can't imagine anyone actually trying it. And to what end? An inheritance scheme or something? OP, my family are quite controversial, particularly for Vietnam, which is mainly why my parents were against my brother's gap year to begin with. I can't elaborate further on that regard, unfortunately. But there is definitely reason for something like this to happen. Commenter 2, I'm definitely on board with this. Please make sure you get help as soon as possible. Lack of sleep, hygiene, social withdrawal, etc. It has a tendency to spiral quite fast. And you should really push psychological and clinical help ASAP. Not only for his safety but your parents. It is not something that will pass by itself or can be cured with love. Please keep in mind that voices and visions usually start out quite friendly. What country did he go to? Regarding the height difference, you could easily shrink 2 inches just from terrible posture. Otherwise it could indicate osteoporosis. Please stay safe. If you want to hear the rest of the story, tap your screen right here.